Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Real Talk here on TV 35. We are here at the historical Oconee gym here, and of course, there's a community forum that's about to take place. We've got City Councilman Benny Jones with us. How are you, Councilman?
I'm wonderful. How about yourself?
Doing very well. You know, when you're talking about a community forum and this one that's about to take place, tell us about why you all and the other councilmen and the chief decided to have this event.
We've had some incidents happen, like you said, in our neighborhood, in our community the last couple of weeks, and not just last couple of weeks, but we think this has been long overdue, that we need to get the community together, find out what can we do as together and partner with the community to try to come up with ideas to better our community. So this is more of a listening session, not bringing in a speaker to speak, but let the people talk and let them talk to us and tell us what programs or what things we could do to help them to try to curb some of this activities, crime, and all this is going on in our neighborhood.
And you know, you're talking about recent incidents where we lost one of our young men.
Correct.
And go ahead.
That was in my, and it's sad, we've had a couple of shootings and they've happened in my ward except for one. That was the young man that got shot, and he was in the other councilman ward too. But this is what we're talking about, is senseless. You know, people you losing their lives over senseless things that it shouldn't happen.
And so this is an event that you decided to just kind of throw out there on Facebook, is that right?
Correct. We only had time to put it on Facebook. Once we sat down, I got the call from Councilman Johnson and Davis to put it together. It was already on my mind with confirmation, okay, let's do it.
Right.
We looked at, okay, the election is Tuesday. We need to come up with a date after the election, but we're leaving to go to National League of Cities the following week. So we said, okay, this Thursday, and the only time we had to do was just, okay, put it out on Facebook, tag everybody that I know, and they tell them to tag people they know, and we try to get a gathering. So yeah, this was Facebook on the advertisement.
Right. And so what you're going to witness here, you're going to see some of the city councilmen here, and along with Chief Tim Chapman, he's going to talk a little bit about some of the issues that we've been having within the community, and we've got community members here that are eagerly awaiting to speak, to have some words, to kind of share their heart, different organizations that they have, systems that are in place to be able to help these young men and young women, to kind of get some of them off the street, to kind of get them active, to kind of get them from being, you know, in situations where they are. There are a lot of programs here that we're going to share with you all. And if you do miss tonight and you're not able to be here, of course, there are going to be other times where there are going to be forums as well. Is that right?
Correct. We're going to try to do it once a quarter.
Okay.
But next time we will get it out in time, it will be more than just Facebook. So look for us, radio, whatever, however we can get it out, we're going to try to get it out to get more people here. We want to hear, we are here to serve the people, so we want to hear from the people.
All right, very good. All right, here we go. We're about to start the forum right now just to kind of talk about some issues that have been happening in the different communities where there have been loss of lives, and the community at large, you know, our hearts are grieving, and we want to know what we can do to make things better. So thank you, Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
All right, here we go.
All right, a few rules we're going to go over. When you come up, we ask that you stand, but when you come up, stand approximately about where I'm standing at now, face the camera. We do have TV 35 here. We want to let the community know what we're on tonight, and see what that goes on from here. But tonight, in light of the recent events that have happened, I got a phone call from Councilman Johnson and Councilman Davis, and it was on my part to do this, but the Spirit told me to hold off, and I got a phone call from them with confirmation that this needed to be done. So we decided to do a community forum. We want to do one and give, instead of us talking, we know we all the time we talk, we have speakers, we want to hear from the community. We have President today, myself, Councilman Jones, Councilman over Ward 1. We have Councilman Johnson, who's Ward 2 Councilman, Councilman Davis, at large. And we have Police Chief Chapman. Mine was bad. Chief Chapman. So basically what we got here, we got the city representative and the police board representative. Y'all know what's going on in our community here recently and in the past and here recently. So we want to hear from y'all, what can we do as a city and police to combat and stop all of this? What ideas y'all have? But first, we're going to let Chief Chapman start out. We're going to give you some about what's going to be going on within the last year, so you can kind of hear and kind of be caught up and know exactly the facts of what's going on.
Good evening. I have a lot to cover. As of October 2017 of this year, these tragedies just occurred with 2 lives that were lost. It was too many. That was the first homicides we have had this year within the city limits. Bottom line. When you look at our stats as a whole, our crime has went way down. It's just that these 2 incidents, I feel, gave a black eye to what we were doing. It's not more so what the police can do, it's what we can do together. Overall, looking at the stats from the time I got here compared to years before, we were 1,114 less cases. That says a lot when you compare 30,000 additional calls that these officers responded to. Now, we can sit in here and talk about that, but is that really going to help? Let's talk. What the city is doing, we came up with the Transformer program. The Transformer program has worked miracles in our community. Matter of fact, on October the 31st, that was Tuesday, we took 16 kids from Moore Street School to Georgia Southern University. We have approximately, I believe, 3 students from Moore Street that are dual enrolled at Georgia Military College. We teach at Moore Street. We also teach at the Career Academy. That's the Old West Lawrence. We have our council here. They back Transformer, purchase properties in the Stubbs Park area where we would use the Transformer house to teach soft skills. We have money to pay for GED scholarships. We partnered with Mark Butler, with the Labor Commissioner. He came to Dublin in my office and said that Dublin, especially the police department, is leading the state. We offer jobs. We have done the impossible from within the police department. We have done a lot. We are looking at partnering with Pine Forest to come in. They have several teachers who are retired to mentor our students with math, reading, and science. Not only the students, but also the parents, because in this day and age, actually with my own son, Brandon, I had to Google, go on YouTube, how to do the now new math problem with all those steps. And our parents are liking those skills to help reinforce what our teachers are doing in the classroom. At Susan Dasher, we have a reading program partnered with Susan Dasher. I go every Monday when possible, and along with my staff and other citizens from Dublin, to read with our kids. Why is that important? I'm told if you can't read on a 3rd grade level when you hit the 5th grade, there's an 80-something% chance you're going to prison. Now listen, we can listen to that and don't do nothing and blame everybody. But ladies and gentlemen, we're at a point that we can't blame anyone. We got to get in here and get our hands dirty. It's so easy to blame the police for everything. That's not the case. These guys are doing everything. They're not perfect. Looking for better ways, better practices to make Dublin safe. And sure, I'm here tonight to hear, because that's something that somebody may have a great idea that we need to put in place, that we can work together. Don't dump it off on somebody and expect them to do it. If you got an idea, let's see it through. It's so easy with something like this to have a one-time thing. The cameras are on us, the newspapers are here, and after this day, what do? nothing. We have young black men killing one another like flies, and I'm sick and tired. We have value. We have purpose, and our blood is littering the streets. Enough is enough. So this is not going to be a blame game. We come to talk and figure out what we can do as a community and who is going to get it done. We have our Explorer Scouts program that we use it as an incubator to raise up police officers, give them a career path from 14 years old to 21. We're trying to do as much as we can, yet we're not perfect, but yet we're striving to do the best we can with the spirit of excellence. I have some more stats, but I'll wait on those things right there. But let's talk and see what we can come up with as a community to make Dublin safer. Okay? Thank you.
We're here today at Bank of Dudley to discuss business loans. So many businesses and industries trust the Bank of Dudley for a variety of financing alternatives to suit your specific needs, from short-term loans to help with cash flow, loans to purchase equipment or facilities. At Bank of Dudley, we have commercial mortgage loans, capital improvement loans for construction or renovation. We can help with your business vehicle loans or for a small business line of credit. In other words, Bank of Dudley has your business covered. No matter what it is, you can trust the lenders at the Bank of Dudley with 5 convenient locations: East Dublin, downtown Dublin, Veterans Boulevard, Dudley, and Jeffersonville. The Bank of Dudley, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Perry Williamson. We've been serving the Dublin Lawrence community for over 90 years here at Williamson's Bakery. We specialize in donuts, cakes, pies, cupcakes, cookies, birthday cakes. They're our business, not a hobby. And don't forget our large selection of cheese straws. For special orders, contact us on Facebook, Instagram, or better yet, just come get you some. When you stop by, be sure to try our all-new Pig in the Blankets. We have bacon, sausage, and chicken. We're located at 1634 Veterans Boulevard, Dublin, Georgia. For the hot, freshest donuts, come to Williamson's Bakery. We proudly support our area athletics.
So when you come, stand out right where I'm standing at, and speak out into the audience, into the microphone when you need. Come on. Say your name also. Say your name so people know who you are.
I want to say good evening to everyone. Hope everybody is right here and wanting to be a part of the process and not a part of the problem. Is that fine right there? Okay. We are here on behalf of the Middle Georgia Pitts and Lady Pitts basketball organization. Some of our men players are here tonight. You see them in their attire. We are a professional organization here at Dublin. A lot of the things that Chief Chapman has just echoed to you all about things going on in the community, we are sick and tired of it. Now, this is my day job. I do this during the day. But on the flip end, I live in a completely different community, and I'm an elected official. And the same things that Dublin, Lawrence County are faced with, small town USA where I am is faced with as well. So just a couple of things that we want to tell you that we're doing, we're hoping that we're going to be able to work well with Dublin and the city of Dublin and the county to get some things started. The Read to Achieve program is something that we are going to pitch a sale to shortly. This is for our kids in grades 3 through 5, and believe it or not, that fact about basing how they're building prisons is based off of a reading level at a very low grade level. The 3rd grade. Sometimes people flux that number, but we are working well to get a curriculum together. We have teachers that play on our basketball team. We have medical assistants that play on our basketball team. We have all different careers. This is just not a career that they're gonna just make. This is a talent that they have. But these young men and women are educators, they're teachers, there are scientists, we have it all. So if we have that much energy exercised in a professional basketball team that we plan to make our home for years to come, just think what we could do if we work together with our police chief, if we work together with our city council, if we work together with our county commissioners. This is not a blame game, people. This is something that we really want to do. Every time you open your door, every time you turn on the news, every time you look outside, there's something happening in the black community. And not just the black community, all over the world. If people can go inside of a place of worship and kill off a whole group of people, just imagine what the world is thinking about now, outside of that. But not only that, we are in the process of doing another couple of things. Some of our young men want to help, like we say, with those people that have those GED skills that need. I'm a former GED instructor. And one thing we want to practice with that is we want to make sure that we get those people that need those education skills, the basic skills, reading, math, that really are needed to go into these jobs that are coming into Dublin Lawrence County. Most people want to go into the military. We have some young men that are even involved in active reserve duty, some young women that are involved in that. But the thing about it is we have to put ourselves out there to market not only what we're going to do with our organization, but what we're going to do to work together with this city and with this county. I want to commend the leaders because this is something that a lot of people don't want to face. But inevitably, with this professional team that we have here, we just want to let you all know that we're here. We are going to work well with you all. If there's anything that we can do, you can visit our website, and I'll be glad to stay around and talk with you afterwards to give you our information. And we do have a website, we do have a Facebook page, we have all the social media engines to let you know what we have going on in our community. Our next event that we're doing for our community is a community toy drive. We're getting ready to gear towards that, so we're gonna gear towards those less fortunate kids in our community, but the next immediate thing we want to sit down and do is get talking to some of these young men that are in our communities that are needing outlets. And some of them have sports as outlets. We want to do a youth basketball camp. We want to do a whole bunch of things. But in order for us to do that, we need to be able to walk hand in hand and make sure that we make Dublin Lawrence County a better place to live. Again, I am Ahmad Thorpe. I'm the Director of Operations for here for the Middle Georgia Pits and Lady Pits. If there's anything we can do, please feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Good evening. Hope everybody doing well today. First of all, I'm Ken Robertson. I live here in the Dublin community. My wife teaches at Dublin Middle. She's here with me tonight. I used to work at Dublin Middle School myself. I did about 2.5 years in the Dublin city system. And what I saw in the years and just being around the community, our young men and our young women, our young people, when we go to the school dances or we're at the ball games, you notice that they can't even communicate with each other without having a cell phone or something in their hands. What we need to understand is how to engage our young men and women in interpersonal interaction. A cell phone is a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful device. Computers are a wonderful device. But we got to engage one heartbeat to another heartbeat so we can understand and feel that equitable value of life. So these children know that there's some worth in this young man and in myself as well. Self-worth, self-understanding, self-value. Then you can measure yourself against others. In the incident that Chief Chapman spoke of earlier with the 2 young men, I registered one of those young men in 7th grade, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart to hear what happened. And immediately I began to process and understand that the young man did not have a clue of the value of either life on either side of the barrel of that gun. Did not have a clue what his worth was. Did not have a clue what the young man's worth was on the other end of it. Because right now, really, they're so self-absorbed in what's material and dressing snappy and wearing the J's and having the latest technology is awesome. But if it is our barometer for what we want to be, what we aspire to be, then we've topped out because you got those things already. So where you go? So we got to learn how to get them to understand where to put these things, where these compartments need to be, and what they need, what action they need to have in their lives. We have a really unique area. We have East Orange, we have West Orange, we have Dublin, we have Trinity, we have other programs. One of my suggestions, and one thing I would like to see, is let's get these young men and young women to interact with one another, aside from competing on the ball court. I love sports. I support my sports team. I love it. I play ball. I play several sports coming to school. But let's get them to understand there are other outlets and there are other ways for them to interact, so we can build some camaraderie rather than just being a competitor. Because a lot of times when I see the green and gold jersey and I've got on the black and gold jersey, automatically they're the enemy. But are you truly the enemy? You live 15 minutes across the bridge. We can still be friends. We can compete hard against one another on the court. Hit, when you play against the other team, you hate the other team, or you just want to win the game and play hard. Win the game, play hard. But at the end, you got it up, and we move on to the next one on the schedule. But what we're not seeing is the kids aren't processing like that. When you grow up hating West Orange from Dublin, you hate it. And when you're 13 and 14 and 15 years old, if we don't get in their ears and go, hey, this is a ball game. Play hard, work hard, try to win. But at the end, that's a human being on the other team. Heck, they may be related to you. And a lot of times it is. So we got too much this quick competition. We need to break those barriers down. And I think if we do some more intellectual things, along with sports, because you got to be an intellectual. I told some kids today at Career Day. I said, if you want to be a professional athlete, you still got to understand how to strategize and create plays. You got to understand the basics. You got to understand how to apply it. You got to understand how to think outside the box, because the coach on the other team is strategizing the same manner, and maybe on another level. So what I would like to see, and I don't know if it's possible, I would like to see commingling, I guess, in our education system. Let's get some of these kids to get their green and gold shirts on, and let's take them over to the east side during school time and let them work on an assignment together. That way they have a goal that they have to accomplish together. And at the end of the day, hey, we work together to get an actual grade, something that actually applies to my report card or my progress report or my file. And then when I see you on Friday night, we can play hard, we can tackle one another. But then when the clock hits 000, we can dap it up, because I work with you on the project. We've got to learn how to get these kids to relate to each other than texting how much they dislike one another or texting about somebody else's business all the time. You got to get them to understand that, hey, let's call Mike on the east side and we see what's going on with something other than Jim's business or Joanne's business. A friend of mine I was talking today, and I'm going to finish up and get out of the way here. We were talking today, and he and his son were interacting, and his son wanted some money from it. Well, he wanted to test his son just to see if you just really needed the money, or were you just so used to daddy handing it out, to doling it out when he asked for it. So when he asked his dad and he gave him a few dollars, and it wasn't as much as he wanted, so he got an attitude with his father. And so for a couple of weeks, they barely even spoke because of a few bucks. And this is a father and his son. But once they sat down and put the cards on the table, and with tears in both their eyes, the son said, "Dad, I wanted to apologize to you. I didn't know how." He was so used to having his way, so used to having things his way. He hadn't gone through anything. He wasn't used to anybody telling him no. And when his dad put that barrier up, he didn't know how to react, so he shut down. But now the relationship has grown, and he's becoming a more mature young man because he's understanding, how things work. There may be some setbacks. There may be times where you don't have your way. But that doesn't mean that daddy don't love you. That doesn't mean mama don't love you. But we just gotta get them to understand how life works. Because right now, I think there's so many material things that are in our eyes right now. There's so much status that's in our eyes right now. And they're just so closed-minded because they're really selfish and it's, a lot of times it's no fault of their own. Some of the training that they receive is kind of led them that way. Because we've allowed the computer to raise them more. We've allowed the phone to raise them more. We've allowed the fashion to raise them more. But we need to corner off them some time to time to break them down, not soften them up and get something in there. Otherwise, the trend will continue. And like all the speakers said, I'm sure the same this, it's scary. It's scary to feel like that you can't engage with your children, that we can't engage with our children. And they can't engage with each other because they don't have a clue where to start. That's all I think.
Count on Century 21 Durden Cornegay to help you fall in love with a new home. Call on agents Jody Tanner, Jim Jarrett, Pam Tillery, David Deeves, Beverly Forbes, Ann Adams, Raina Duberly, Benny Helton, Charlene Brantley, Ruth Watson, Jay Brantley, Charlene Lamp, Yvonne Robertson, Karen Whitmer, and George Durden to help you fall in love with your new home today. Fall is a perfect time for you to buy or sell your home or commercial property. For more information, log on to c21dublin.com. Century 21 Durden Cornegay Realty. Broker George Durden.
Real people, steel people. Professionals demand dependability on the job. Homeowners expect long-lasting value. And servicing steel dealers provide friendly, knowledgeable support. Right now, pick your power, fuel, or battery, and get a great value on a steel blower, starting at just $129.95. Get yours now, only at your local steel dealer. Visit steeldealers.com or search STIHL.
Cullen Supply and Engine Service, your steel dealer at 826 South Harris Street in Sandersville and 910 East Jackson in Dublin.
My name is Leon Jenkins. I'm the owner of Styles Above and Beyond on the south side on North Jefferson. I had to come to this meeting tonight because this year here, I think I made about 14 or 15 appearances in Superior Court and criminal court this year. And one of the things that bothered me a lot is how people talk when the kids are being charged with serious crimes. I know some of them are robbery and breaking and entering. You know, it's not good for the community, but at the same time, it's like, I know those are not bad kids. In order to condemn them, you got to understand where they're coming from. If you don't understand where they're coming from, you mean you'll never understand what they're going through. And it's like, I seen a couple of them, it was their first offense. And they had been out of jail. When they caught their offense, they got out of jail, and they was given a bond, and they had been out for 3 years. And they went back to court 3 years later. And then within those 3 years, they hadn't been in any trouble. But yet they received a punishment that's gonna send them back to their ways, probably for the rest of their life. I seen them in there getting like 20 do 10 for stuff, 20 do 5. It's like, so he's not gonna be able to be heard for the next 20 years because he's on probation once he get out of prison. And it was like, then I'm in other court, I'm still in the courthouse on other court dates. Then I hear, I'm not prejudiced or racist or none of that, but I'm watching the white kids in there. They come in there with charges like child pornography, but they send them to, they got all these programs that I never heard of, that had never been offered to a black kid. Teen Challenge. I never heard them even offer Teen Challenge to a black kid, never. They said it's a way, we're gonna give you another alternative instead of sending you to prison, we're gonna see if we get closer to God. Oh, well, why wouldn't none of the black kids offer the same program? And it's like, I don't understand. It's like, so when they're sent to prison And then, I mean, a child 19, 20 years old, when he's sent to prison, 90% of the gang members in Dublin, Georgia, joined the gang from either the county jail or either joined it in prison. They joined it for protection. Because unless you've been in there, you don't know what they're going through. I've been in there. And so you have to go in there, you gotta be prepared to fight, get down, whatever. Because your job is to try to make it back home to your family. You can't go in there saying, I'm just gonna be a good person. No, that's not the way it works. So now, he been incarcerated for 5 years, and the whole 5 years he been banging, fighting, whatever he doing, trying to survive in prison. Now he's come back out here. And the first thing they say, oh, you a convicted felon, you can't work here. You a convicted felon, you can't work here. Probation officer still saying, I want my money. So, no job, no money, I'm gonna send you back to prison, you don't bring me my money. So what he gonna do? What is he gonna do? Either gonna sell drugs, he gonna break in your house and steal your TV. And he's going back to prison. And now, where we at now? That's why we in here right now, because of the cycle. I don't understand why we're not given the same opportunities to say that why we don't have a Christian program that we can put them in at the age of 14 before they get 17, before they become an adult. Why we don't have that kind of program that we can mentor them in-house program. In-house, not when you go home, an in-house program like they got out there. I heard of so many programs this year, even one I went and visited out by like going towards Sober, I don't know the name of it. It's a Christian program, 180-something people now, 2 blacks. Like, and then if you go look at their records, you know what I mean, all you gotta do is ask them their name. I went and asked them their name, and when you go to court or anything, those are public records. So I actually did the research on it. I go down there and see what they're being charged with. They got aggravated assault. They got arson. One dude, he tried to burn his mom up in the house. He was mad at her because she wouldn't buy him a hoverboard. He tried to burn his mom up in the house. He got 2 years in the teen challenge. Now, just let one of us do that. Chain gang, we going. It's like, no, ain't no if, and, buts about it. You're going to prison. And, you know, it's just like, sometimes, you know, a lot of us probably be from the hood. Some of us made it out. A lot of us made it out because we never got caught. We didn't get caught, and we happened to skate by. Some of us got caught, got a record, and then we got it on track later on. But that's the thing, you know, you can't really say they're bad people because you got to know the history a little bit about it. And the thing of it is like, once they get to the age of 17, 18, it's really nothing we really can do. It's up to them then. But if you can catch them when it's 13 and 12 and 14, you can catch them then, and it's like, we don't have the programs in place, in-house programs in place for our people. And I'm at the shop, and I get to talk to these guys on a daily basis. And then when I don't see them for a while, I ask somebody where he at. Oh, you know, he got 10 years the other day. For what? Oh, about 3 years ago, he tried to rob this store. Man, I haven't seen another guy. They told me the other day, oh, he just got 10 years. For what? 4 years ago, he broke in somebody's house. I said, but he been I know, man, he been working ever since, but they gave him 4 years the other day. And, you know, man, I don't understand it. I probably would never understand the legal system. I probably would never understand it because it's like, it's no consistency in it. You know what I mean? Me and you can go down there for the same crime, but the fact that your parents had $5,000 to give a lawyer, you walked away with a slap on the wrist, but I didn't have the money, so here I am doing 3 years in prison. So then you say, you had a choice. No, we had a choice. I made the wrong choice. He did too. But he got a chance to correct his. I can't correct mine. And you know, I'm a spiritual person. You know what I mean? I really do believe in God because he answered my prayers, you know. But when I see the church, when they come by the shop, it's kind of sad that every time I see the church, they coming by to sell or something. Sell me some raffle tickets, some plates, donuts. Never gave nothing away. Not saying they don't. I'm just saying where I'm at. I'm in the heart of Southside, right across from Jets. Never seen nobody come in there and say, we just wonder, are y'all hungry? We got some hungry people in here. We'd like to give you some food. Never heard of that. But I see the people in the community come over there cooking hot dogs. What y'all doing? What y'all selling for? Oh, we just giving them away. So those are the people that they're going to look up to. but you don't want them to look up to those people. But every time they see you, or not saying you all, but every time they see the people that's living good or not doing stuff, it's not for a good cause. It's about, can you spend some money with me? Do you got $5? But when that person gets in a jam, nobody's there to support that person in court. No matter how much money he spent in this community, with how many black people, that man stand up in court by himself. Nobody's there. Nobody got time. But look how many people we got here. You know what I mean? The people are getting treated wrong in that court system. And like I said, I understand the guys sometimes, you know, I'm not for crime, not trying to justify it, but I wish there was a better way we could justify the sentencing so that so it would not end their life, so they can bounce back from it.
My name is Tommy Walker. I'm a local relative here of Dublin, Georgia. And I've been involved with the youth for, about all of my life. I have kids that basically played sports and football, basketball, you have it. But a lot of programs that we work with the youth, the main thing that I look at when we're working with the youth, we need, I was always raised that it takes a community to raise a child. And if you look around, this is not the whole community. Most of the mothers, a lot of times when myself and others like Benny and some of the leaders here, when you get involved, you need the parents. And a lot of times it's hard for us to get the parents, and a lot of times the parents are not at home. So what my brother and I basically decided what we was gonna do was get with some other guys, men and stuff, to get together and start working with the children ourselves. And a lot of times when most of the youth, when you talk with them, you're asking them to come to church. A lot of times the church have to go out to the streets where the people are lost. We're the church. The building that we worship in is just a building. But we're the church, and we have to go out and reach the youth. And I challenge each man, I'm not gonna hold you long. A lot of the leaders that we had, like Brother Waters and Chapman, his brother, talent shows, all kind of things that we had in the community to help raise the kids. A lot of things, a lot of the people that I see in here was a part of these things. Reverend Sheffield, a lot of kids, Keith, I'm just speaking of them because they're here. And I know why they're here, because they was raised the right way. Stevens, a lot of them, we grew up having activities and things to go on. So a lot of times the kids are like projectors. They see what we do. And a lot of times when you're talking about cell phones, who's on them? The parents. They're probably on them right now. That's why they're not here at these meetings. So a lot of times we need those parents on the football field where we coach them and everything. And if you have something to say, like the leaders do say, then come here and speak. Come here and say something. Don't talk it in the barbershops, like he said. Don't talk it in the beauty parlors or whatever. Come here and say what you got to say, you know, because we are losing our youth. And if we don't raise them up in the way they should go, you know, they're gonna make their own way. So I'm not going to hold you up. I got some other guys that want to speak on the panel, but I am a parent, and I challenge other parents and other men. I'll begin with some of you men to see if we all can come together, kind of help out with the pits that the basketball league that they've got. My kids are a part of it. And let's all us together come together and try to do something to help our people in our own communities. Let's raise up our own children. I love you all.
Chief Chapman had something he wanted to say concerning Mr. Leon Jenkins.
I want to just say this, help me pass this on. Mark Butler from the Labor Commission of the state of Georgia, they came down and gave me an initiative that we are using. If a person has been charged with a crime, it's hard for an individual to get a job. But they came up with a way that they can give tax credits to an organization, or to a business rather, if they hire that individual, as well as bonding that individual, so nobody's out of any money. So I'm excited about putting that to work. So if you know anybody who has gotten out of prison, send them to me. And we're having great success. And while I'm talking on jobs, if anybody need a job right now, I need to see you, because we have sent a lot of folk over to Best Buy to get a job. And so that's who we need to talk to. If you want a job, have Jerome Pullen here. He's our coordinator with Transformer. We want to put you to work, because that's what we're all about. You need one? That's right, I helped him out at the city. So we're in here to get our hands dirty, not to just come in here to entertain you with a good conversation, but to get our hands dirty, and that's what we're all about. But I thank you for that. I need to hear that. So let's talk, and I'll get you that information, okay? Thank you.
Your Chevy team that can't be beat is
Dublin Chevrolet!
Get up to 20% off MSRP on Malibu.
Dublin Chevrolet! The only dealer you will ever need!
They know a winning team when they see one.
When my daughter got engaged, she wanted an outdoor wedding. She walked up and she said, "This is it." It was just a beautiful setting for the photography. The caterer could go in and out this door without any problem. The daughter and all 11 bridesmaids were in here. There was plenty of room for them to hang out. Everybody loved the atmosphere of the entire venue.
If you want to book this venue, you don't wait. We're booking up fast, and you don't want to miss out on that special day that you have set to have your special event.
For most of y'all know me, and I'm Derek Stevens. I was raised here, right here in the heart of Southside. I consider this my home. I love it. I love it to pieces. And I'm standing before you today to, I would say, take some of the blame in this. And I say that speaking on a person that was in the streets. For a lot of you know some of the stuff that I did. I'm not very proud of it. But I was listening to Mr. Jenkins speak about some of the stuff, and I want to share some stuff with all of you so that after this meeting, if you want to talk with me, I can help you understand mentally where these youth are at. I can help bridge that gap. And I say that because I'm a person that went through the incarceration process. I came back out here, and it was not easy. I graduated from the Fire Academy with honors. I had 17 certifications. I went here to my local fire chief. He told me I was overqualified. So here I am, I'm back on the streets. I have no money, I have no job. I got these skills, I got this mindset, but I don't know how do I transform this. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna shut everything down, I'm gonna rebuild my image. That's where it started first, my image. I know I can work hard, I can do those things. Our youth is lost within themselves. The old man told me a long time ago, it's sad when you're lost, but it's even worse when you don't know you lost. They don't know that they're lost. And I'm just here to tell you that Mr. Chapman just said there's jobs at Best Buy. Well, I'm the receiving manager at Fred's Distribution Center, and I got jobs right now. And I'll be honest with you, you will be surprised how hard it is for me to get these jobs filled right now as we speak. I did 10 interviews. I think I got one for different reasons. And like I said, I'm not, legally bound to discuss that, but I want to share this with you because when Mr. Jenkins said that you have a young person that get back out, they don't know which way to go. It is not easy, folks. I'm telling you, I'm living proof. I did that. It took everything. And I had my community believing in me, but I had to do it. So I'm telling you that there's some that can be reached, and yeah, you need to pick them out. And the talk is great, but if you want to understand where they're at mentally, please come talk to me. I think I can help. That's all I got to say.
I'm Kenny Walters, and I've been in Dublin forever, and everybody know me. Okay, and I'm going to challenge you tonight. Everybody know the problem. Name for it. Here's some solutions. There's some things we call mindsets and behavior. How you think and how you treat each other. Loving each other. We got to start loving and caring for each other. We got to be role models. Our parents, either each other. Be a problem solver, not a problem causer. Be the answer to a problem. You see something, say something. You got to be the eyes and ears to this community. The police department can't do it. We got to do it. We got to patrol ourselves. You see something, you got to say something. You got to have a mindset to do what's right, do what's legal. There's no problem in Dublin that we can't solve. This community can solve any problem we got by communicating to each other. So there's three things I want to leave with you. Role model. That means set a good example. I'm not only talking about parents, I'm talking about students peer-to-peer. Talking about eyes and ears. You be the eyes and ears. Help the chief out. Help your community out. No one wants to see nobody get in trouble. See somebody doing something, stop it, hold up, man, don't do that. Do you know the consequence of doing that? So be the eyes and ears and tell the story. Tell a positive story. Tell the good things that happen. Share the good things you get. You got a program going. It's a lot of stuff that's here for us that we're not aware of. You got great things that the chief is doing. I know a lot of churches are doing a lot of things. I know a lot of communities are doing, a lot of Farage is doing a thing, helping people out. We got to do that. So we got the role model, be the eyes and ears, and tell positive stories. We can solve any problem that we had in Dublin. Employment, communication, but it all got to start out, we got to show love for each other. We got to show love for each other. And we can solve any problem we got. I'm not going to keep the time, but thank you. If I can be any help to you, let me know, and I'll do the best I can.
I'll be short and sweet because Kenny said some of the things I was going to say. Keith Griffin. The one thing I was going to say was reference to what Kenny said, accountability. We got to have accountability. You know, 7 days ago, I read a story that Chief Chapman had in the paper, and he said, parents, do you know where your kids are? And he's telling the truth. A lot of parents don't know where their kids are and don't know what their kids are doing. And I'm gonna give you an example. You got a 14, 15-year-old, you know they're not going to school. They leaving the house early in the morning, they coming back late at night, they don't have a job, but if you go in their rooms, you check their pocket, they got a wad full of money. Wad full of money. Got 2 or 3 cell phones. As a parent, you know your child ain't got no part-time job. So there's got to be some illegal activity. Where else they getting that kind of money from? That's accountability piece. Transformer program, what him and Jerome doing, we got programs in place. We got to have parents step up to the plate and say, Chief, Jerome, I need some help. Look like my child is going down the wrong road. I need some help. They mentioned jobs. I'm on the Development Authority Board. Plenty of jobs here in Dublin. We're constantly recruiting jobs, but I'm gonna tell you what hurt us. The soft skills. When we go to that interview, like he was talking about, we going in there with our pants down. You gotta dress the part. Because when you come through the door, they looking at you, and if you ain't dressing the part, that's strike 1. If you got them earrings all over your ears, in your nose, that's strike 2. Then when they sit you down at the table, they listen to the way that you speak and answer the question. If you coming back with that slang, that's strike 3. You think you gave a perfect interview, they done checked the box, do not hire. We got to learn the soft skills. It's the small things. We got to dress the part. When you go on an interview, you need to put on your Sunday's best. You got 10 minutes to sell yourself. And if you can't sell yourself, you can't brag on yourself, I'm not finna hire you. And when it comes to selling yourself, you can throw a few fibs in there. The only person know is you. But you got to have those soft skills, and you got to be able to sell yourself.
Good evening. My name is Regina McCrae, and I just wanted to add to the discussion. As a counselor in the community, a lot of times, by the time we get involved, we get referrals from DFACs, from the schools, from mental health, and typically by the time we get involved, you got a parent who's really frustrated who cannot control their child anymore. And one of the things they don't have is access to resources. Or so they feel that way. But what I've come to know is that in Dublin, I mean, there are tons of different organizations that have done things to kind of to help children. I know I see Mr. Johnson all the time with the bike boys. I see him going all the time. And there's other groups that, you know, they do something with the girls or they do something with the boys. Just things to try to alleviate some of the stresses at home and put some positive influences into the child's life. But if if people don't know about these programs, then they're not doing us any good. And what I would suggest is if there was a way to have, I don't know, maybe even a resource manual or just something where we could have information, because this is information that by the time we're involved, they're wanting answers. They want help. They wanting to find out, where can I go to help? And a lot of times all we have is kind of what we just have personal knowledge of, but we don't know everything. And so I think it would really help the community if there was maybe a resource bank or something where we can go that would access these information and then and advertise these wonderful organizations that are in the community that are doing really well with our youth. One of the things we have to keep in mind is that when you talk about behavior, a lot of times every behavior has a purpose. Children don't typically just act out to act out. And sometimes that's an indication that we really need to dig deeper into what's going on. You would be surprised to know, even with all the information about bullying going on at schools, that of how it's not okay to do, children are still getting bullied every day at school, picked on, coming home talking about they want to kill themselves, they want to do this. So when we see these things that are going on in the community and we see our children acting up, we've got to stop and listen, because that behavior is trying to tell us something. And if we dig deeper, I'm gonna quickly share a story about some young men that broke into our car on our property. They did it one day, and then about a month later they came back and broke into the vehicle again. Long story short, they were caught and they went to court, and the judge, so happened one of the young guys was involved with a defects case. So that made the judge kind of know a little bit more about what was going on with him. And it turned out the young man had lost his mom, had lost his grandmother, had a lot of trauma and tragedy that he had recently experienced. So the judge said, well, okay, I'm not gonna lock you up. I'm gonna mandate counseling for you. And as luck would have it, I got the referral to counsel the young man. And so initially, I kind of had reservations. I thought, well, maybe that's not good. But I don't have any personal feelings against the young guy. But anyway, in digging deeper and working with this young man, it turned out that this young man was actually under pressure from a gang. And when we got him alone and we began to work with him, it took him a long time, but he revealed that he was really trying to get away, but he had a hard time getting out. So he didn't want to be a part of the things that he was doing. And sometimes we underestimate what peer pressure does to our young people. I mean, and how they feel pressured to do things that even you've taught them not to do. Because it's not all about that they haven't received the training, because we all know that you can tell, those of us that have children, our children don't always do everything that we've taught them not to do. And so, that just gave me insight that we really need to sit down and pay attention to what's going on with our young people. This Facebook and stuff that they're on, it's serious for them. So when you're mad and you just flip off and say whatever you want to say without thinking about it, and then another kid reacts and it ends up, and there's been cases where people have lost their life over that. And so as a community, we've got to come together and help our children with this. Monitor their Facebook. Children, you're not 14 and under, you're not even supposed to be on Facebook. But you got tons of kids who are on Facebook and have no business being on there, and their parents know they're on there. But you got to monitor and police these things. So I guess in short, if it would help, in my opinion, if we had a way to access these resources so that we could really let the parents know about what is available to them when they needed help.
What if there was a paint that had the power to awaken something old, or painfully dated, or something you simply thought was lost forever, because it could form a strong bond regardless of age? If a paint could give any time-worn surface stunning new life, you have to wonder, is it still paint? Regal Select Exterior from Benjamin Moore, only available at independently owned paint and hardware stores.
Available at Four Seasons Paint and Floor Covering.
There are many ways of doing business today.
Hello?
Call centers, mobile apps,
Right away.
But when it comes to what really matters, our way is pretty simple. To be there when you need us most. That's the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them.
Orr Insurance in Dublin is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
Hello everyone, I'm Dorothy Simmons, and I want to first of all thank each of you for coming out, and I'm very grateful for this forum. Thank you to our panel for all that you're doing. What I wanted to add to it, everything, we have so many resources already available. We've been talking about employment, different programs, the bikers, the transformers, and Mr. Griffin even told us how to go on an interview. And what I wanted to add to it is prayer, that men ought always to pray and not to faint. And so I came here, I also serve as chairperson of the National Day of Prayer. And there's one thing about it, when it comes time to pray as a community, the African American culture, we represent a very small percentage. So I want to challenge each of you that when there are opportunities to come together as a community to pray, that we show up. I wish I could get one amen. I know it. That you know, it starts at home, and from pastors as well. Some of our smallest services in church is prayer, and we as a people, prayer has brought us from a mighty long way. So we don't need to turn from prayer. Of course, faith without works is dead. So we definitely need all of these resources. But I want to encourage you to bring prayer back into your home. Start back praying with your children. Don't be afraid. Go in there. I can go old school. Anoint that pillow with oil. Come on, somebody. And so we got to start back. We got to take it back to prayer and also be active in the community and in prayer. We have a prayer gathering coming up, and for Thanksgiving, it's a community gathering. We're working hard to try to bridge, because we have had complaints that it's geared more toward the white people. So we're trying to bridge. We're trying to bring more soulfulness in, and we're bringing in a choir that we want to represent a soulful side as well. So we're working hard for that. Also, we have an upcoming council, the Dublin Community Faith Alliance, which will, what the young lady said, we're going to be working with compiling a resource manual pamphlet. We're going to work with the chief and the city for all of that. So we will come alongside whatever initiative is already there to offer that faith side and offer prayer and strength for you. Pastor Martin Brock serves with me as well. And just before I take my seat, I got a call the other day. A grandmother called me. We'll call her Sally, and she was distraught. She said, I called you because something needs to be done. My own grandchildren seem to be turning against me. I don't know what to do. And she said, what can we do as a community? And so I told her I got too many things going on right now, but I don't want to try to reinvent the wheel. We're going to be reaching out to some of you to say, what can we do to come together as a community to incorporate something that will be inclusive and not exclude prayer as well. Thank you, and I want you all to remember that prayer still changes things. So let's go back to prayer.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christopher Johnson. They call me Coach Johnson of the Oconee Community Mentoring Association. And as someone has mentioned before, you may have seen me and a group of kids riding the bicycles through Dublin, hey, up there. And that is only one of the things that we do. We are a mentoring service. A call to action in 2008, I believe it was Tavis Smiley, during the 2008 presidential campaign. President Obama challenged us, if you want to do something for your community, to volunteer. And so we did. Me, myself, my family, my daughter's right there. And so we did. We stepped to that call of action and we started a mentoring group. And so from that, not only do we do cycling and working with kids, we also do oratorical speaking. The kids also are involved in a STEMS program that we've done for the last 6 years. I actually have kids doing, I have 2 kids studying medical. We're going to have one kid, police officer, fire department. One out in Hollywood started with us with Funky Town, just imitating artists. And now he's out in Hollywood, he's already done one movie. I have a young lady that's a dancer with the Philadelphia 76ers. Started out with our mentoring group. I have a young man that just got registered with Valdosta State Computer Science. He was one of our programmers in our first Lego robotics program. So our model of interacting and mentoring our kids has proven to be very productive. And so we want to try to expand and share that with the rest of the community. There's a lot of men I'm looking at here that helped me start it that way back in the day, a lot of these gentlemen here. And so our interest is to help to expand that. Now this became abundantly more important to me most recently because I've lost one of my kids. One of the young men that we buried last Saturday was an ACMA kid. One that I brought up from the 5th grade. One that I knew very well. And I felt that I let him down. And I charge each and everyone in this room for the same thing, that we have let our young people down because we don't interact with them right. We can no longer say, you know, when I was coming up, it used to be different when we was coming up in this neighborhood, because you know what, we're not parenting like we were parent back in that day. We're not the same parents as the parents that brought us up, for the reason why we was so productive in our adult lives, and we has the morals and the values that were instilled in us. And today's youth is not the same. I think it's apparent that a lot of the adults in the school system, in our community, may be a little afraid of our youth today. Approach a young man, tell him to pull his pants or anything like that, they may not want to do that. But what we want to do, or what we want to suggest, what we want to share from our experience, from our model that's been quite successful, I think, out of the 85 plus kids that we've dealt with over the last 9 years, I've only had 3 to fall short. And that's a pretty good success rate. I'm going to run over Miss Carol. She's telling me I'm my timekeeper. And so last week, as we were burying one of my boys, we hosted a community forum. And from that forum, we had some discussions. We had parents to come and share their tragedies about losing life to street violence. And so I think we owe it to these young people to try to guide them in a more positive direction. We have to do it because we have this increasing swelling population of disenfranchised young people. And we're going to have to deal with them one way or another. I was to go to Ms. Hightower's in-school suspension class. I would go there 2 or 3 times a week. I would visit and I would talk to kids while you're in here. And I would give them a lecture I called the Hickanut tale. And I tell the kids, and I tell all of you, city councilman and chief, that you are all nuts. You're all nuts. But that's not a bad thing, because most of us could be considered peanuts. And George Washington Carver created over 400 products out of a peanut. And so being nuts has value. All of us have value if we are nuts. But when I was living in Alabama, in the backyard I had pecans, and me and my family, we would go out and we would deal with these nuts. We would pick them up. Then I would take them to my mother-in-law's, and she would make pecan pies and all type of great treats. And so we didn't have any problem dealing with them nuts. In the front yard was this hickory tree. And the hickory nuts were big. And of course, my family and I had to go out and deal with these nuts. We had to go out and pick them up. We spent time and energy picking up these nuts. I says, well, if I got to spend all this time picking up these nuts, I got to get something out of it. But you know what? Trying to crack a hickory nut is something else, buddy. I got a hammer and I slammed it, whack, and I broke it all open. But you know what? There was nothing there, nothing of great value. So I tell those kids in Miss Hightower's class, if you're going to be a nut, do not be a hickory nut, because it's a hard nut to crack. And from that, even still today, kids will call each other hickory nuts, you know, just to challenge each other. To be compliant is the point. That's the point, one of my life lessons. So from our forum, from last Saturday, dealing with Dr. Curtis Jasper, he's a psychologist out of Atlanta, that came down and gave us a great insight on the value of mentorship. And for this community and any other community, the way that would be an advantage is for us to, in order for us to become a mentor, we actually have to mentor someone, you know, find a mentor. Here's one of my mentors right here, Reverend Ricky Porter, Reverend Sheffield, been a gentleman that has talked to me in the past. And then we also have to mentor someone younger. That's how we can perpetuate this sense of sharing in our community.
When this last storm came through, I think it was Sandy, we were out for 7 or 8 days, and we were the only ones with power. When the power goes out, there's probably about a 6 or 8 second delay, and then we get a staged recovery. It takes less than a minute, but everything's on within a minute. The furnace is running, the lights are on, the TV's on, the washer, the dryer, the oven, everything. To me, this generator has paid for itself several times. If I lost power right now, these pipes could very easily freeze in probably a day or two, and that would cause significant damage. And maybe insurance would cover it once, but I really don't want to go through having my walls torn out and the pipes replaced. My family's going to be safe and secure in my house because of this generator. That gives you that feeling of security that, to me, is priceless.
Would you like the peace and security starting today? Then call the City of Dublin Natural Gas. The City of Dublin Natural Gas, the smart choice.
Every morning, you're up at dawn to take care of the land you love. So are we. That's why Kubota dealers are the best at understanding what you need and sending you home with the perfect machine for the job. We know more than equipment. We know you.
Freeman's Lawn and Garden. Call us at 272-2198.
And one of the conversations we had in both capacities was what's been happening in our community. And I like what the brother said, Leon, because that was the conversation I just had with the members of our congregations. We were there during Bible study talking about, well, this should happen and that should happen. And I just said, guys, that's a lot of lip service. What are we going to do? So Pastor Banks commissioned myself and Ken to come here to find out what can we as Christians truly do. I love what Pastor Simmons says, prayer. I do believe in the power of prayer, and I do believe that's significant. I just want to let you know within the school system, like Chief Chapman said, it is so crucial that our kids know how to read. I teach 5th grade, mathematics, English, language arts. I have 23 students, 16 boys, all black boys. Of my 16 boys, 2 are reading on grade level. I have 1 reading on kindergarten level. And it's not because they haven't been taught. It's not that they have not been exposed. We've been asking, well, why is it happening? 5th grade say, well, it's 4th grade. 4th grade says 3rd, kindergarten, preschool. It's the parents. The parents say it's the system, it's the school. So enough's enough, I agree. At Dublin Middle, there are resources. We have SWV, Sister with Voices. We have the Sigma Gents. We have Boys to Men. So my question and request is this. I'm hearing all of these wonderful resources. I didn't know anything about it. You know, I grew up in Lawrence County. I live in Dublin. I'm invested in Dublin. I'm tired of people saying what we don't do and can't do. So my plea to us, don't let this be our only meeting. Because about so many years ago, there was an incident at Stubbs Park. And we came out strong. And then it phased out. Let us not do that. I beg, even if we meet quarterly, if we can come back and let people know what's available, what's out here, what we can do. I had no idea about the pits. I need to speak to you, brother, because you talked about teaching and reading with our kids 3rd through 5th grade. We need that. I got to do more, and I promise to do more.
Faith is the substance of those things that are hoped for, and the evidence are the things you can't even see. But we need leaders that's taking the people to places they can't see. And that's what we need. We need people taking folks to places they never seen. And it's going to take leadership to do that. I say that because of all the capacity that I operate here in Dublin as a teacher, as a community leaders, and all of that. I had the experience a few weeks ago of working in the area that I grew up. And I was working, campaigning for Jerry and for Sophia and for Miss McCrae and all those who are making themselves available to be leaders. And we got to understand the roles that they take and how important those roles are to make sure we got people around these tables, such as we have Keith, around the economic development. We need people like Keith that understand what the economic development is doing and being able to bring it back to us so that we can understand what's going on. And I say that a lot because each day I watch the kids come in through Dublin Middle School. Yes, Keith is right. Soft skills are lacking with our children. And I mean, I'm at the bus every morning and I'm saying, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Maybe 3 of them respond. Maybe 3. And when I left Dublin, I was taught to acknowledge folks' presence. Anytime our path crossed, we acknowledge them. Kids are not being taught those soft skills. And these are the things that we got to go back. Lastly, I want to mention the Southside Community Association, which has been around for many years. And that first quote that I quoted, that those projects down there, Waterford, nobody thought they were coming on this side of town, period. They didn't believe it. They didn't believe it until it started coming out of the ground. And then when it started coming out of the ground, they bought into it. But it's even more important that we teach them how to take care of it. Miss Brenda, I was walking public housing this week. You know, one of the first things I noticed the sidewalks was edged because perception means everything. I don't care if you live in public housing. We can get out and edge our sidewalks. That's just like getting a haircut without a tape. So I encourage you to get hooked up with organizations that are doing things. I invite you to Southside Community Association, and the reason that I invite you there is because of the things that happen at Waterford. We was awarded monies and resources, and we need people at the table who knows how to implement programs. And money is not so much of an issue when we got leaders. So I encourage you to come. And I tell you, my time is winding down. And we need other folks to take this mantle and begin to run with. Gary talking about retiring. We got Mr. Breyer, ain't sick, and we ain't got nobody at county commissioner to talk about our interests here. We ought to be raising sand. Because we ain't got nobody at the table. When I go down there, I don't see nobody that look like me. So how are they going to talk about what I'm concerned? And we sit back and let it happen. And we can't fault nobody but our own selves. So all I say is that take on a leadership role in the community. And there's lots of opportunity to do that. And I say that because most times I've been out there doing work, and all of a sudden folks come by and say, Mr. Boss, what you doing? I said, well, I'm just trying to clean up. I'm focusing in on dilapidated housing because I believe in affordable housing. And they'll see me out there raking. They said, can I help you, Mr. Boss? I said, yeah. The first thing they said, how much you paying, Mr. Boss? I said, well, it's volunteer work. They said, well, I don't want that. Not realizing that if you start with volunteer, it leads to something else.
Hi, Eugene Smith. How's everybody? How many people in here own a car? What's the purpose of the exhaust system in a car? What's the purpose of the exhaust system? Tailpipe, muffler. What's the purpose of it? The purpose of it is to let off steam. If you put your hands back there, it's hot. To let off steam. Our young kids do not have anything to do to let off steam. We have baseball, basketball, football, but we have no other things to do to let off steams. Young people, the scriptures tell us to serve the present age. We're dealing with a crack epidemic, and it's all kinds of drugs out there now. Mama's home on drugs, got 5 kids, 6 kids, 7 kids, running around somewhere. We're in an age now to where we're talking about people that control their kids. When I raised my kids, I not only raised my sons, but I had their friends over, 5, 6, 7 of them. If I fed my boys, I had to feed 5 or 6, 7 more. But guess what happened? When my boy was reading, they was reading. All of them went to college. All of them living good now. That's what it takes. My family and we've invested into the community. We got 15 houses now that we working on the south side. We completed about 20. It takes a lot of money to do that in a dead situation. Investing in the south side is just like putting your money in the ground. Do y'all believe that? If you're looking at it as an economical point, but let's look at it as a family point. You get a chance to give somebody a good quality house. Don't have to deal with bed bugs as much. Got central heating there. Everybody want to live decent. Everybody want to live good. So I challenge some of y'all tonight. If we want to change our community, let's start buying some houses. Let's sell that Cadillac, get a Chevrolet, and buy one of those dilapidated houses, put it up, and transition some families into some decent housing. Then you get a chance to talk to the parent. You get a chance to see what the parent doing. You get a chance to see what the kids are doing. Let's invest back. Let's take it back, like Chief said. Let's take it back. I own 2 clubs. When I was in my young days, I ran clubs, and I ran them good. I had the opportunity to spend a lot of money on the private boys. Where Tunk at? Tunk stood up here. I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on those guys. They had potentials to go somewhere. My wife said, if I told my wife, if I could take them to California, we can come back rich. She said, go. Because I would take them to concerts. They were seen, they get on stage. When they get off stage, people start walking out because they done been entertained. Them guys was something serious. But you know, you have to have a vision. I couldn't get them out of Dublin. We have to have vision. I'm a part of Southside Community Association. It takes a lot of work to change our neighborhoods. Emery talked about faith, but scripture tells us faith without works is dead. We got to get out here and get down and dirty. Got to get nasty. It's going to take a whole lot of work to change our world. Our world didn't just start last week. We dealing with this 40 years. Since the early 80s, 83, 84, crack has invaded our neighborhoods. It has ripped us apart. And now you got young people getting on crack. That's insane. It's for our community. It didn't happen last week. It's gonna take a lot of work. It's gonna take some taking back. 20 years ago, Reverend Cates and I and about 20 more had park patrol. We used to have thousands down here at that park on Sunday. Thousands. The city didn't quite understand what we was doing. We seen this epidemic coming. We seen it. And we was trying to do something about it. But as we moved, we was getting kicked down, tore down. Every Sunday we used to, out of our pocket, donate money, have a cookout, give it to the peoples. We patrolled them. This Sunday after we get out of church, at the end of the night, we have to clean up. I mean, it was a lot. It took a lot. But it cooled down the community. When we quit, things quit. Because people's want to out. We got to have a way to let off steam. Old people's, young people's, all of us. God bless us, and hopefully we keep striving. But only way you can really have change is to be owners. If you own your neighborhood, you can control your neighborhood. You with me? We got to invest back in our neighborhoods.